forget everything what you knew. There are no buttons to toggle through.
Yeah,
Put everything you want in an AI prompt, and it'll just work for you. Is that the future of how to use software?
definitely. Again, we come back to, as a humans naturally speak or describe an idea, it's easier for us, right? A baby may not know a word, but they can describe it or they can mimic it. So, and this is for everybody, AI won't replace people. People using AI will replace other people, right? And it's just because it became so natural. And if I can speak to the computer and the computer gets the idea and builds it, it's like, I don't need to type. And if I just go and I describe my idea as I'm telling a story, then it's not like I don't need to build all this complicated stuff and I still get the result.
May I hear this one, please?
Welcome to Real Gaijin, unveiling the real Japan, an American expat's inside look. Now it's time for another story from the Read My Lips series of podcasts. Summarized podcast.
All right, we are live. Hey, it's Mark Kennedy. I am the host of the Real Gaijin AMA Podcast. I'm also the chief storyteller of the Real Gaijin Substack. Thank you very much for joining us. We have a special guest today, Carlos Lastres. Carlos, USA. All right, great. Carlos is speaking from his home in Tokyo. And wow, look at that background. One of his hobbies is apparently collecting figurines from anime. So we might want to jump into that. I'm sure a lot of people want to know about that. Carlos has a very interesting past, which we're going to go into in just a minute. He is a polyglot, so meaning he can speak multiple languages very well, and he's lived all over the world. He is an award-winning software designer, and by the way, I'm sure I'm not using the word software correctly. It's probably application or whatever. He can correct me. Since I'm an old Gen Xer, I'm thinking software. But we'll hear all about that. He won for Speechify, which is a great app, from the Apple Design Awards. He won an award for Inclusivity, which was terrific. And that was just in 2025, last year. So it's a very recent occurrence.
Yeah.
All right. Just a couple of housekeeping things. This is a live recording, which means you have the opportunity to ask Carlos anything you want. It's an Ask Me Anything podcast. So use the chat functionality to put something in there, comment, question, whatever. I will monitor that, and then we'll get Carlos to answer that. Also, we'll get a recording out maybe within 24, 36 hours so you can listen at your leisure. All right, let's jump right into it. Carlos, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mark, and thank you everybody for joining. Very happy to be here.
Good. All right, I have to jump right into this question. One of the defining features of Carlos Lastres is your tattoos. So you have tattoos here on your neck, I know on your arm, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
fully covered.
Wow. So that has kind of a special implication in Japan, since tattoos have a lot of cultural baggage associated with it in Japan. How do
Yeah.
you navigate life in Japan with all these tattoos?
So first, I just want to say that why am I fully covered? Some people write diaries and some people write stories. Let's say I put my heart on my skin, right? And that's like the way I transmit my stories and how I write things. So that's why like I keep feeling it and I feel so happy with it. And I'm starting with that because then the following part is how do I navigate it? Because it's, as I said, I put my heart on my skin. It's something I love and it's something that I'm really passionate about it and that I see every day. And I just, for me, it's like fantastic to see myself like as a living painting. Because of that, I wear them confidently. And I'm very proud and very comfortable being outside showing them. Because of that, I never had any issue. And I have said this a couple of times, like people see me so okay with it and dealing like not it's like nothing out of the extraordinary. So I never had any issue. Anybody said anything. People is even like old people is like, wow, you really look stylish. I would like to learn more about like where you did it or what's the meaning. So it has
yeah.
been actually an amazing and positive experience with it.
Well, that's terrific. And do you have some of the work done here in Japan?
Yeah, I used to live in China, mainland China, so I did most of them here, but there.
Mhm.
But of course, I continue here now that my journey is here.
Yeah, tell us about that. So you originally are from Costa Rica, correct?
That's right. From Costa Rica, all the way. I was a little bit of time in the US, Palo Alto, doing software.
Ah,
Then for a job opportunity, I ended up in mainland China, and I love it. The mindset, the speed, everything, it was incredible. So I spent 7 years there. It was like another school for me. But Japan is a great place for living. So I decided it was
mhm.
time like to settle down and just relax a bit. And that's why I picked it up Tokyo.
Well, we definitely want to get into the differences between Japan and China culture, especially as it relates to software application development. I imagine the implications are pretty big. All right. So you've been in Japan now for how long?
It's going to be about 3 years already.
Oh, okay, great. And you live in Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo, Sumida, around the Skytree Tower.
Oh, great. Okay, that's a good spot. I used to live in Asakusa. Very good.
Nice. Excellent.
And so, all right, tell us what brought you on this long journey from Costa Rica? What was the What was the impetus for traveling so much?
So, as all of you may hear or know, Costa Rica is great. It's a great weather, great people, but it's like nice for a holiday.
Hmm.
Meaning, it's pretty chill, right? And people are a little bit laid back and whatsoever. I always had that little spark, and I kind of felt like I didn't belong there in that term of like working hard, speed, and so on. I'm not saying they don't work hard. I'm just saying it's different culture.
Yeah.
And then I got the opportunity to be in mainland China, and I was like, I really don't have anything to lose. I'm young, and it sounds pretty interesting. So I just I went for it, and it's totally the opposite, right? The speed is so fast. Everybody's so into the work in a good way. Like they want to push themselves so hard. I mean, you can see it in innovation and whatsoever, right? So it was crazy, yes, but I'm so happy I did it.
And what exactly were you doing in China?
Also, software developing
Ah,
software and combine it with product design.
Okay, great. And so, did you have any classical training in either of those fields?
Yeah, so I do have a degree as a software engineer and also a degree as a US UX and UI.
Ah,
But because I started as a software engineer a long time ago, it really helped me to connect everything, right? When the movement of UX and UI started to become popular, not everybody was a developer, but I was already doing that. I was already
mhm.
building stuff, and it was just like, how can we make this better for the user? So I love it. I went into that wave, and I fell in love with it, and I continue my work under that path.
Okay. And then when you say mainland China, where specifically did you go? For example, I'm not familiar. Is there the equivalent of a geographic location like Silicone Valley in China?
Yeah. So China has a couple of cities very important, and I ended up in Hangzhou,
Yeah.
where we get the headquarters of Alipay, where like all the big companies in terms of tech, uh, they were just naturally growing there. And I believe DeepSeek is also there. So it's just like the city for IT.
Okay. I figured. All right. And all right, but the transition to Japan, that's interesting that the decision was based on wanting to settle down a little bit. What exactly do you mean by that?
So the thing is, during COVID, I was in China, and it was
Mm.
pretty crazy, right? So
Ah,
once everything kind of wraps up and you were able to go out, because we weren't able to go out. You can take a flight, but you cannot come back. So when we were able to go out, I was like, I need a break. And I just came to Tokyo because I always loved it. And I booked like 10 days. I was here in the 7th day, and I asked myself, why am I not living here?
Okay.
And that's it. That triggered everything. And it's just because I feel like very relaxed. Maybe the COVID and I don't know, or the speed, it was just like, I was paying the toll a bit. And then when I came here, I was like, you know what? Why not? And I have always been working remotely. So I figured it out. It could work. And that's how everything started.
That's great. Great. And I imagine anime must have had a little bit to do with that decision.
Definitely. That helped a lot.
So what's going on behind you here? We haven't gotten into that.
I actually started in China collecting figures. And I do love a lot anime. It's not like I see it every day. And it's not like I'm so into it. But collecting gives me a lot of perspective, and that's why I love it. And I encourage people to collect. It doesn't need to be anime figures, can be anything, but collecting helps you to organize your ideas. Because, okay, you start a day and sometimes you don't know what is going to be next or what to do. Because I already knew that I was going to collect and that I was going to collect anime figures. It kind of structure everything. It's like, I'm going out. Yeah, I'm going out to hunt some figures. And everything started to fall in place. And then I figured out that the more I collect, the more I start to also organize my ideas around work, around life, and so on. So I love it. And I couldn't stop. Then I found out that a lot of people uses that. They collect also to get like that noise that the brain and many things generate just to get it quiet. And I couldn't stop. And I currently have like 800 at least.
My goodness. Okay, so we're only seeing a small portion of the Lastres collection. Okay, very good. So a large portion of your apartment must be devoted to this.
That's right.
Okay, good. So imagine when you talk about calming your brain by collecting, that's very interesting. I imagine that also helps to generate the creative spirits. Is that a good part of it?
Yeah, first, because visually anime figures are amazing, right? They give me a lot of inspiration. And second, because I already removed that noise, I'm already structuring my day. Yeah, it kind of like give me an empty slate where I can do my creative work. And that I'm like, excellent, I can work on this. I got some ideas. I got inspired already. Let's go for it.
Given your very interesting background, coming originally from Latin America, having a little bit of time in Palo Alto, so in the Silicone Valley area in America, in the United States, and then China, and now Japan. These are vastly different worlds, particularly as it relates to attitudes towards speed, as you've alluded to, and also creativity. Can you just talk a little bit about how all of these 4 different places are so different?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that I did that, not on purpose, right? It just naturally, I was hopping from place to place. But I will say Latin America gives you the spark of creativity, right? So many colors, feelings, people, sunsets that I will never forget. But then you get to China, where you actually understand that speed matters, because the one who releases first is the one who can test it first. And then you start to say, okay, I get some ideas, but I actually need to execute. Otherwise, they don't get anything, and I need to execute it fast. So I learned that, and then I came to Japan, where everything is actually a bit slow. And that, at the beginning, that bothered me a lot, because I came from a place where everything is so efficient and so fast, and then here they slow me down. But I understood that that was the last step that I needed to get things done in a proper way, right? It's not that it's as slow as that you need to double check. You need to make sure that it's going to be fine afterwards. So it kind of polished me, and it gave me a bit of patience and a bit more of quality, right? So I love that I make that transition. Again, not on purpose, but it was hard. It was hard just to slow down things a bit, but it helped me a lot.
So how are you balancing in your work for software development the need to continue to be creative and also be fast, be quick, nimble, with the need to be meticulous on documentation and make sure everything works well for quality? How do you balance everything?
Well, first, I want to start by saying that there's no such thing as balance. All the talented and like different people I have met is because they don't have balance, right? So how do I manage that, saying that there's no balance? It depends a lot on the project. And you always need to sacrifice or at least put something in place. If you need to release something and the market is going there, then speed is what it matters, right? If you need to present something to the Japanese government, then double checking quality is what it matters. You can actually take your time. So I will say, yeah, it depends a lot. But for everybody listening or listening afterwards, if you feel you don't have balance, that's actually okay. I don't think I have balance.
Okay, that's a big takeaway. All right. Hey, though, tell us more about your big project, Speechify, with that won an award. Well, first of all, what award did you win for people that are not familiar with the Apple Design Awards?
Yeah, of course. So first, Speechify is a text-to-speech app. The idea is that naturally we are storytellers, right? And since we are babies, we just hear and we kind of mimic that and we learn how to speak and we understand a language and a culture and whatsoever. So not because of that, listening, it's going to be always easier for us. Yeah, there's a lot of power in writing. There's a lot of power in reading as well. But hey, since baby, we listen. So our idea behind is there's a lot of things that you still can listen in a digital world. And we put voices that sound naturally, voices that you can adjust depending on the mood or the type of content. And then you process information faster. While you start doing your work, you can listen to your emails, you can listen to documents, PDFs, and whatsoever, and then speed up your process. We started from that, then we went to like voiceovers, creating ads with your specific voice, or cloning my own voice so I can use it in multiple things without investing my time, and so on. So that's Speechify. And yeah, the award was precisely from what I said. We ping. We touched that point of let's go back to our roots as a humans, and we're storytellers. Let's keep telling stories, right? And let's make why we don't make everything like a story that we can keep going on. And the users love it, and especially for education, because a lot of people were having struggle, like I have so much stuff to read, where I cannot just focus when I read all this, but I can listen to it, and I can listen actually to 1.5. So I process information so fast that I don't think I can do this by reading. And then, yeah, that's how it blew it up.
I see. And so how did you apply the various different influences, like the speed element that you learned from the experience in China with the basic creativity and your original culture from Latin America with the meticulous nature of documentation, for example, in Japan? How did you apply all of those skills to win this
So
award?
at the beginning, it was a lot of testing, right? Which voices are good, which formats are the best, and which platforms are the ones used by the people. So speed, it was essential, right? We need to release something. It may be not the best version, but we need to work somehow so we can understand if people can use it. So we started with a Chrome extension because everybody's on the browser. Then we figured it out. Okay, it works, excellent, but we need more power. Let's go with a web app. We made the web application where you can upload like heavy PDFs or PDFs related to economy, data, about the quarters of the company. Okay, then the app, because you want to be on the go. Maybe you're commuting, you want to keep going with your, I don't know, studies, your books. And that's speed was always essential. Then we reach a point where, okay, everybody's using it, all the platforms are working. How can we take this to the next level? And that's when you get your craft and quality of Japan. And okay, let's sit down and can we personalize the voices based on your content? Can we make them feel like you're really talking with somebody? And what it means to talk with somebody, the tone, volume, intensity, and so on, right? So it's just more like polish what we have. And yeah, at the end, we have a beautiful product. We keep expanding, currently working on the Mac application. So you have it like, you can read anything on your Mac and also the Windows application. So trying to not limit ourselves, right? And as I said, keep just telling the stories.
And now, when you put together a team to help you do all this work, are you consciously picking people from different cultures? Like, would you consciously select someone from China with that experience in Hangzhou, like you had, for the element of speed, and maybe a Japanese software engineer for the polishing effect?
I will say, well, first, everybody in Speechify is a genius, right? Everybody. And being there is hard. But once you get there, culture, it doesn't matter too much. It's like we are all together because we want to accomplish something. Therefore, we put the energy. Yes, sometimes we need like specific skills and talents because somebody speaking in Japanese is pretty different than somebody speaking in Spanish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially Japanese, which is a language that is too formal in certain situations.
Right.
So, yeah, sometimes we need specific skills in people, but most of the time, yeah, we have people all over the world. And it's just like that desire of making things, and I want to push it, and I want this to create an impact. That's how you ended up working in Speechify.
That's fascinating. So tell us, though, about your experience living and working here in Japan and how that's gotten you a little bit concerned about the degree to which Japanese people can be creative without being constantly bombarded by all these rules of their culture.
Yeah, that was a shock because, I mean, growing up in Latin America, and then you always see the anime, you see like pop culture, and then and this is for everybody, right? You get the wrong idea of what is Japan. You get the wrong impression that everything is like so colorful and creative, but when you come here, you understand that it's just so narrow and everything has a rule, and then you're like, okay, how things work, because I see all this creativity, I see all these things, but somehow everybody's so trapped. And then it's just like that water and oil thing, right? That just some people are different here, but they still need to collide and to survive in the society. So it took me some time to learn. Having rules is not bad. It gives a lot of organization and structure. But yeah, I was worried. Like, is Japanese people really limiting themselves just because of the rules, or first, who am I to say this? Oh, that's what I was thinking. Like, I'm just a foreigner living here, but what's the point? And then I started to talk more with Japanese people and get to know them. And yeah, they were like so constrained, and I was just trying to understand. But culture shapes a lot. Again, the sense of being polite, it takes a big part of it. For example, people say, I won't feel myself full of tattoos because I don't want to catch attention from other people. I want to interrupt them. I don't want to be in the spotlight. And then I can reply saying, what is the problem to be in the spotlight? Right? And then they will argue because they can see when I make a mistake. I'm an easy target. And then my follow-up is like, what is the problem with making a mistake? If I don't make a mistake, I don't learn. It's like, it's the only way. Yeah, I understand. It's better to make mistakes quietly, and it's better to fix them fast. But you need to have mistakes. I mean, if you're not having mistakes because you're not trying enough. So it was very interesting, that back and forth, right? Of why they don't want to do that, and then at the end they were like, "Yeah, I wish I could do that, but it has been many years under this structure that is a bit hard." But I feel things are changing, and especially the new generation, they're a bit more flexible, and they try to understand that you still can be polite, structured, organized, with a little bit of flexibility there.
Now, particularly as a leader of a project based in Japan, do you try to infuse for example, the classic Silicone Valley mentality of move fast and break things for the purpose of learning? And I imagine you experience the same thing in China. Do you try to infuse that way of thinking with your Japanese colleagues?
Definitely. So I'll say to work with me, you gotta be a bit crazy, right?
Okay, I'm learning that.
Yeah, just because there's no time for fiction. There's no time to stop. So we gotta keep moving forward. And if I'm telling you, look, I have a rocket ship and we are departing in 1 hour, are you in? I just need people to tell me where's my seat, and yeah, how can I help? Right? We don't know where we're going. We kind of have an idea, and it's a rocket ship. So, but that's the thing. When people understand that, if you give them that idea and they're like, sure, where can I sign? Okay, then we can work together, because I know that things, we can build it up on the way we go.
Good. Hey, you kind of alluded to this a second ago, that who am I to say all this and judge the Japanese based on the fact that you've been here for now 3 years, which is still impressive, but you are, like me, you're a foreigner. And so we're not
Yeah.
an integral part of society yet. We're on the fringe. However, you've talked about how you're using the fact that your gaijin status or foreigner status is actually your superpower. Tell me more about that. How do you utilize the fact that you're a gaijin as a catalyst perhaps to get Japanese colleagues to become more willing to accept risk and be more creative?
Yeah, everything starts with perception, right? Making a bold decision. It doesn't look as bad just because I'm a gaijin. And then I can argue what it will be different if you make that decision. We're all in the same company. It's the same outcome and it's the same product. And then they kind of, you can see in their eyes where everything sinks in, and they are like, it actually makes no difference. So it gives them a good perspective. If everybody was Japanese and we were like in a traditional office salaryman, then they will argue more and they will say, no, but it's because of this. But when you put it like that, they really realize, okay, there's actually nothing wrong. If I also took that decision, maybe things work the same and everybody will be happy. So it helps a lot because they give them contrast. In a traditional company, everything is linear, everybody kind of the same in mindset. So it's very hard to compare something or to see the opposite, right? But when you play the gaijin card, it's easy for them to have a little bit of perspective and at least to challenge their mindset, right?
Good. Hey, I don't know what the composition of your teams is, but do you find a difference in attitude among younger Japanese men from women, or no real big change by gender?
So I'll say the girls are the best managing. I love to have product managers as females just because they are more organized. So it's just like in a structure that they are super good at it. So I love to like build teams where the product manager is a girl. Young boys, a lot of energy, but very shy, right? Very shy to make a bold move. So it depends a lot, like type of project or a stage of the project. But yeah, good experience working with both. Females excellent at making bold decisions and managing. Young guys, a lot of energy, right? So you can utilize that as well.
So in the field of software development here in Japan, is this an opportunity that didn't exist perhaps for Japanese women before, and particularly to
Definitely,
take a
definitely.
management? Yeah. Okay.
So things are shifting towards, speed and an agile workplace, and having somebody with, I would say, like the female instinct of management that can help a lot, right? I still think so. At least Japanese society is still run by men, maybe not in the best way, and but it could change. It could change because they can see the advantage of all of this. What I'm saying. So I do believe it still needs time. Still needs time just because again Japan goes slow, but things are changing, and a lot of influence of graded female leaders and product owners is already getting here. So definitely very positive change.
That's good to hear. I want to ask a few more questions about how you put together teams in just a second, but I also wanted to encourage everyone who's online here, use the chat here to put a question into the little box at the bottom of your screen or the right side of your screen, and we will get to your question or comment. And by the way, unless you are comfortable with us mentioning your name, we will assume you're asking for a friend, okay? And we won't mention your name. All right. So while we're letting
Excellent.
people think about their questions, Carlos, I'm curious, when you put together a project team based here in Japan, and perhaps some of the team members are not in Japan, how do you resource the human resource? How do you find people to work for a team?
Yeah, we want to be global and we like it. So even in me being here, we try to reach everywhere, right? How do we get them? LinkedIn is a great tool. A lot of
Mm.
people approach to us and to me like saying, "Hey, I saw your product. I love it. I use it in this way,
Yeah.
and I would like to collaborate." And then that's how
Mm.
like the conversation starts, right? One thing is just going and applying a job, and another thing is saying, "Hey, I use your product,
Yeah.
and it helps me in this way, and because of that, I have these ideas." It already transcend a lot of things because it's no longer a job. It's like, "Hey, I am part of this. I understand this product, and because of that, I think I can help." So that's very important. Like all of us use any of the tools or devices in a way that is very special for us and that helps us to be more efficient and to be better as a person. And I think that's important. There's nothing wrong in just to get a job for the salary. That's totally fine. I mean, we all need it. But if you can add a little bit of that product or that whatever the
Yeah.
company does to your life, it's like you can get to the next level. Definitely.
Yeah. So most of the people that you hire for your teams are these freelancers?
No, no. They maybe started us as freelance and they were like using us and they have like good skills, good mindset, and good attitude. And then eventually they ended up joining the team.
Oh, you mean as a company?
Yeah.
Okay. And so how do you manage all these resources around the world? Do you like use Slack, for example? I mean, how do you communicate with everyone?
Yeah. I mean, remote working has been there quite some time. Right now, it's actually super convenient. You get a Slack for communication. You get different management tools that can be combined with the project software and design. Of course, Figma for design because you can collaborate all together without being like a local environment. And yeah, nowadays with AI, the things are even going faster, right? And it's easier to communicate. You can put your agent to reply certain things. So no, super efficient, super convenient nowadays. It actually doesn't matter where you are, as long as you are like, and not even the time zone. I work a lot, a lot. I work a lot in the evenings just to match up
Ah,
with the guys in the Europe and the US. So yeah, right now, internet opened the world for all of us, and it's
yeah.
just like such a wonderful time to be alive because I can be talking with you, and we can be being watched by somebody in the US, and it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what time is it. Everybody's on their thing and they are enjoying. So it's great.
Okay. Well, so no barriers, essentially. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to ask you about an area that you're really familiar with and I am really not familiar with, which is this term user UI, UX, and also
Mhm.
how that balances with um, engineering, like the rigors of an engineering rigid program. How do you balance that?
It was interesting because long time ago, software was very rigid, right? The client laid down set of things that they needed. And when you were building the software, it's like, okay, yeah, we can put all this thing together. We can have, I don't know, 20 buttons and whatever they need, you just go and press it. But then the failing ratio of software development was very high. It was actually hard to complete a project back then. So big companies were worried about it, a lot of resources. And why? Because, yeah, if the user asks for 20 features and you put 20 buttons, it takes a lot of time. First to develop and also for the user to find out what they need. And once they understand, okay, I actually just need 2 buttons, so they always click the same. Why do I need to have such a big interface? So people start to realize, okay, I think we can tackle this in a different way. And then I start getting connected with a lot of things from nature. Like 80% of the times, you will use 20% of the resources. So why we just don't put 20% of the buttons? Why we just don't put 20% of the information? Because that's what they're going to use. And that's how it started. And it was fascinating because nobody was, some people, including myself, we were thinking already in that and see how can we improve that. And then big companies, of course, like Apple and so on, they start to dedicating a lot of time and they say, actually, we can make an experience out of this. It doesn't need to be so cold. It doesn't need to be so rigid. And yeah, nowadays it's actually important. Unfortunately, the attention span is not too high, so you need to make things pretty efficient and like very fast. Otherwise, they don't hit.
That's fascinating that you've mentioned that. Hey, I have a real question, particularly given the fact that I'm probably quite a bit older than you are. And, when I was starting with programming, when I'm not an expert at all, but I was using like Lotus 1, 2, 3. Okay. If you've even heard of that to make macros, I'm kidding you. But recently I've been using a software as a service online that has almost no buttons and features. And
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out how to use this, and the proprietor of the business has many videos out there saying, look, forget everything what you knew. There are no buttons to toggle through.
Yeah.
Put everything you want in an AI prompt and it'll just work for you. Is that the future of how to use software?
Definitely. And yeah, I totally understand you. Previously, it was a process to make software, right? It was a process, and if you needed to compile, and if there was an error, it was just like chaotic. Again, we come back to, as a humans, naturally speak or describe an idea. It's easier for us, right? A baby may not know a word, but they can describe it or they can mimic it. So, and this is for everybody, AI won't replace people. People using AI will replace other people, right? And it's just because it became so natural. And if I can speak to the computer and the computer gets the idea and builds it, it's like, I don't need to type. And if I just go and I describe my idea as I'm telling a story, then it's not like I don't need to build all this complicated stuff and I still get the result. So that's definitely the future. And when ChatGPT started to become more popular and actually more efficient, I was worried, not because of the AI, but because I was thinking, wait, I maybe will stop typing so much. Will that affect my ideas? But with time, I actually start to become better at describing what I need. And it helps me a lot, actually. And I'm like typing and speaking more than I used to do. Because previously it was like, okay, I have this feature, I make a design, let's make it in code. And it was language, programming language. But now, because it's actually natural human language, you start to express better your ideas. And I love it because it's like, wow, I'm actually typing more now in a more natural way. I'm improving my vocabulary to understand how can I describe better things. And it has been super positive. So yeah, I'm totally in, and encourage everybody to jump into that wagon because it's going fast and it's not going to stop.
Yeah, well, that's good advice. I'm learning that the hard way. No, I'm joking. It's actually liberating. That's great. All right, quick question about developing software, especially while using AI for the code and so forth. And this is something I know nothing about, but as a casual user, I'm constantly surprised by all the hallucinations that AI generates. How do you handle that as a developer?
Yeah, again, it boils down to describing properly, right? I can say build a landing page for dogs that I will get something. And then I can also say, okay, I need a landing page that is going to be reached by mobile because I'm going to put it on Instagram. And I actually like bulldog Frenchies. So make it specifically about that. And because it's on the mobile, make it on the dark mode so people don't get bothered in the middle of the night. Go for it. So it's the same idea, right? But see how I narrated device, time, type of product, and what I need. Because it's not on a mobile, I just need signups or I need people to give their email. So it's harder for the AI to hallucinate if you give it some specific instructions because it has a vision. But if I just say, okay, landing page for dogs, like what type of dog do you want? Anything is for selling dog toys, or so it's just about being specific. And I just encourage people to not be so lazy. You gotta push a little bit more. I know AI simplified things, but now it's your time to take step back and say, okay, what I really need, and am I thinking all the different paths? Am I thinking the outcome of this? And after that, hallucinations stop. Just and even if it happens, it's easier to fix because let's say everything was okay, but maybe the AI make it in a light mode, and they say, let's everything works good, but now I need it in dark mode. So it's easy to fix, right? It's just one of the parts that I describe.
Okay. Say, lately, particularly in the United States, and the companies that have been involved with software as a service like Salesforce.com, they've seen their stock prices tank and valuations go down, particularly because there's a view that these super apps like ChatGPT or Claude are going to just replace them. Particularly as a software designer, what's your view on that?
I think one of the biggest skills that you can have is learn how to learn, right? A long time ago, we were doing software and designs with other tools. And I even remember when like software was made like in C# or C++, and then a website was like HTML. And then new programming languages and new technologies and new frameworks appear, and then you start to merge everything. You didn't question it too much. Yeah, the jump of AI was the leap was very big. So it was kind of scary. But again, it's just how things evolve. It's like saying I'm afraid to use a bulldozer to prepare a field just because I have been using a shovel. It's actually helping me, right? And it's improving my efficiency, and I can do more things, and I can build more crops. So can be frightening, but the faster you embrace it and the faster you use it, the better you will become. And as I said, it's just a weapon that is not going to stop. So you better start working on it right now.
So you're not concerned about somebody who's quote unquote vibe coding with Claude taking away your job, basically.
No. So Alex Ramosi always says that if you want to be relevant and if you want to be good, always invest in yourself, right? Yeah. Somebody can come, vibe coding and make a nice website. And then I always, and I learned this in China, the best way to keep yourself good is making yourself good. How do you make yourself good? Learn fast, keep investing in yourself. Don't stop, never stop, right? And how you build confidence? Having so many skills and having so many stuff done that you can actually say, yeah, that website's nice, you did it good. But you know what? I also made one and I learned this new tool and I got this new certification. So everything you did, I also can do it and better. So it's not about being afraid. It's about like, it's not going to stop. So how can I improve myself to be relevant? And no, actually after AI, I feel like I'm 3 times faster, 3 times better. And I'm like, no, I just want to keep going. I'm doing so many things in parallel that I love it.
That's very inspirational. I think you just answered my next question, but it has to do with personal development advice, particularly for Japanese software engineers or aspiring software engineers. What kind of advice would you give someone here in Japan?
Yeah, put everything on yourself. Building yourself is gonna be always the best answer, no matter what, right? So 2 software developers can come to the same room. If one has 10 certification, has made some projects, uses AI, invest on learning other stuff away from software development, then it's not about confident or not. It's about like, I can ask a lot of questions that they will be familiar with it. And they will be like, oh yeah, I actually did a personal project on that and I learned these insights. And you will be like, excellent, man, that's what I need. I need people that actually try. So try and fail and do it fast. Do it when you're young because there are not so many responsibilities. And then just keep investing in yourself. I cannot say it enough. It has been so important for me and I never stop learning. And that's why like I feel so confident and people keep reaching out and so on, right? And yeah, again, making mistakes. But when you are young, as you get older, it takes more energy, it takes more time. So just make sure all the young people that are starting, go for it. Go for it. There's actually nothing to lose.
Well, very good advice. I second that motion. Very good. Hey, we are very lucky to have Carlos on the show today because he's in high demand. And as a matter of fact, he's got a business call coming up. So we've got a hard stop coming up in a few minutes. But in the remaining amount of time that we've got, if anyone has a question, comment, put it in the chat and we'll read it and get Carlos to respond. While you're thinking about that, I have another question, and that is, what's the future for Carlos Lastres?
Yeah. So I'm releasing a couple of apps. And so if you go to the App Store and you go with the Glimpse Vision AI, it is actually giving eyes, literally eyes to your AI. So you can connect. Soon you will be able to connect with the Meta glasses. It works, but we're waiting some permissions for Meta. And right now you can use it with your camera. And the idea is taking AI to the next level. We talk with AI, we tell them what to do, but can AI look what I'm doing? So the idea is to give more accessibility to people. So I'm outside as a foreigner, I don't understand something. Can I just like literally have my phone see what I'm seeing and say, hey, what should I do next? Or does this cloud look like it's gonna rain? Is the sign asking me to do this? And the good thing is because I connected to my Meta glasses, I was riding this loop, the scooter. So it's like I was having somebody talking with me and seeing what I'm seeing. And it was fascinating because it's like, hey, it's gonna rain today? Yeah, the forecast weather says that it's gonna rain. Should I be prepared for the typhoon? No, that's gonna come tomorrow. And so it's like, can you remind me the appointment later? So naturally, I was just talking, and they were like seeing. They were like, hey, you gotta be careful. There's like a construction ahead. So that's one of the projects that's already released. I encourage everybody to just try it out and give me feedback. We're building just for Japan because I learned that here. We're building an AI companionship app. So we found out that a lot of people feel lonely. And yeah, and I'll keep learning, keep jumping on all these waves, and then the most important thing, enjoying the journey, right? I enjoy what I do, and I will keep making more tattoos because I have more stories. So that will be like my latest advice: invest in yourself, show yourself the way you are. In an era where everything can be fast and efficient, being yourself is just like one of those things that people are missing, right? And I think I have been successful, and I will be successful just because I love myself, and I show myself in a real way, and people appreciate that, right? It feels like, yeah, this guy's natural in the way he expresses himself. So that will be my final thoughts.
Thank you. Well, those are very inspirational comments here. And I appreciate your time. We know you have to go right away, but
Yeah.
Thank you for making time for us this morning, Japan time. For everyone who's listening, thank you for joining us. We've been speaking with Carlos Lastres, who is a very accomplished software engineer, but he's now morphing into all sorts of different areas and extremely authentic. And you see what you get. And that new app sounds really good. I'm going to go download it now and give it a test. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Mark. I had a great time. See you guys.
お疲れ様でした。
Thanks for watching and or listening to another story from the Read My Lips series of podcasts on Real Gaijin. Tell us what you think and be sure to tune in again next time.